Well, good evening, everybody, and welcome back once again to the Tom Broadbent Lounge. Boy, oh boy, have we got an action-packed evening in store for you. The first star guest of the evening is a man that will be no stranger to Swindon Town fans. You'll often see our guest on STFC Twitter holding aloft a red and white scarf, shaking the hands of a new sponsor that he's recently captured. We all know and love the 5 p.m. teasing signing announcement tweets, but we all love them even more when they're announcing a sausage roll sponsor. Ladies and gentlemen, it is my distinct pleasure to welcome to the lounge for his debut, Swindon Town Head of Commercial, Mr. James Watts. James, how are we doing, mate?
I'm good, mate. Are you okay?
Yeah, not bad, thank you. Not bad. Looking forward to your debut.
Yeah, good. I've heard a lot about the show, so thank you for having me on this evening, and I look forward to your questions, and hopefully that I can give you the answers that you want to listen to. Really.
Perfect. It's our absolute pleasure, mate. Before we roll into the questions, I'll quickly introduce you to my panel tonight.
Okay.
So I've got our co-host here, Ellis. Ellis, James, meet each other.
Hello.
Hi, James.
Hi, Ellis. You okay?
Nice to meet you.
Wonderful stuff. Chris, we've also got you online. Chris, how's it going, buddy?
Everything's very good, very good. Is that a Welsh accent I detect, James?
Yeah, and unfortunately, like the manager, it's Newportonian accent. So I've lost it a little bit through travelling the last 10 to 20 years, but it's still there. It's not as strong as it was, though.
Well, you've got a mix of a Yorkshire Swindon accent there in Chris. We'll go over to a pure Wiltshire accent in Daz. Daz, how's it going, mate?
I'm doing very well, thank you. Welcome to the show, James.
Thank you very much.
Perfect. We've also got a sort of a bird accent in Rockin' Robin. Malcolm, how's it going, mate?
Hi, everybody. Good evening. Good evening, James. Looking forward to tonight.
Evening.
Happy days. And last but by no means least, Carly, how's it going?
Evening all, evening James.
Hi, Carly.
Thanks
okay?
for coming on.
Perfect. So, James, obviously we had a chat before the show this evening. I didn't quite expect to have two guests on this evening, so I've had to sort of, push the questions into a little bit of a condensed load for yourself, unfortunately. But sort of in terms of your background, obviously you mentioned there you've got a Newport accent.
Yeah.
You've also got some sort of previous work experience, haven't you, at Newport County?
Yes.
Alongside a certain Mike Flynn.
So I joined Newport County in 2012. So before that, my background was in music and nightclubs and things like that. But 2012, I was offered the opportunity to go on to Newport County as it was sort of a volunteer / sort of paid commission, etc. Coming to the end of my full-time music career and just looking for a bit of a change. I was a Newport fan. I'd grown up watching the club since I was 4 years of age. And it was something that I really fancied to do. First season that I was there, I picked up the job quite quickly. We got promoted by beating Wrexham at Wembley. And I think in June, they offered me a full-time job to go in as the club's commercial manager, where I would have stayed for 5.5 years and learned quite a lot, really. Newport being a fan-owned club, it was playing in a rugby stadium owned by Gwent Dragons. So there was quite a lot of things that Newport is a very unique club in many ways because of all of them things that you wouldn't really have anywhere else. Like you have to change every advertising board between the games of rugby and football. We were always made to feel that we were the poor relation. We were sort of tenants, and it was always everything was focused towards the rugby. So it was quite difficult, and trying to get sponsors to come from what was an historical rugby town and city to support the football club was quite difficult. But over a period of time, we did do that, and we got ourselves to a good position and become a stabilised League Two club at that point, both on and off the field.
So I suppose in terms of you say there in terms of like the rugby side of Newport County and that relationship, I suppose that's sort of always a stick that was used to beat Newport, really, wasn't it? In terms of the pitch being used for rugby and football. So as I said, I can imagine it's probably not the easiest environment to be bringing in sponsors for a purely football-based audience. So obviously you were there for 5 years. There was a bit of a crossover with Mike Flynn in terms of the on-field stuff. Did you have much to sort of deal with Mike during your time at
Yeah,
Newport? Was
yeah,
it nice
yeah.
to see him come through the door at Swindon?
So Mike joined Newport literally at the same time as myself. He came back as a player.
Okay.
So he came back the season that we won promotion, and he went through it, and he then went into cutting his teeth in the academy, and then to a level that he left the club for a short while. He came back and he actually worked on some commercial projects with myself.
Mm-hmm.
So this is where the good relationship between me and him has carried on at Swindon, because we've known each other for such a long time. He went then. We honestly at Newport, when Graham Wesley left with, I think it was 12 games left, we honestly as a club really didn't expect to have any chance of staying up. And the job that Mike did to keep us up that season was phenomenal. We went on a real strong run at home. And even though we lost 6-1 away to Plymouth and we lost 2-1 away to Portsmouth, we always felt going into the last two games that we had enough of a chance to stay up. And we stayed up with that 89th minute winner against Notts County. The season that I then left, I moved to Hereford as general manager. That was the year that Newport's Cup runs started. But I always kept close ties to the club because, one, I live in Newport, friends with directors at the time, and still obviously I knew quite a lot of the players and I knew the management staff as well. So yeah, it was good. I watched Mike a lot, and I always speak very highly as him a manager. I've worked with 12 different managers. To this day, I still believe he is the best I've worked with, just because of the way that he manages the media, he manages expectations. He's a good man manager as a manager of players. And the big one for me is he totally gets the commercial aspect of football. So where you talk about teasing a little bit, you will have noticed Mike in some photos where he's actually had shirts with sponsors and things like that.
Yeah.
That's me playing a little game, but it works. It gets activations, and to be honest, at a club like Swindon Town, like any League Two football club, your main sponsors are massive to the club because they contribute towards probably around 40-50% of your playing budget, and they're massive. So people, sometimes I read it and I get football fans just want to talk football, but the commercial aspect of football is getting bigger and bigger. I know the commercial director of AFC Wimbledon, and when they moved grounds, their hospitality went from 150 covers to about 750 a game, which generates them a massive new source of revenue, and that's where football is going. I know, as much as we have to embrace the old school terraces and the normal football fan, it is becoming more corporate across the EFL, and it's even dropping into the National League as well now. So sponsors are a massive part of what Swindon Town Football Club do, and we've come a long way in the last 12 months, and I'm hoping that in the next 12 months we can go even further to get to where I think we all want to be, which is a sustainable League One club next. And I don't think we're that far off. Like now we're, as I said, from my history of 11 years in the pro football game now, when you're talking to other clubs, I think we're getting to where we need to be, because there's a massive jump both on and off the field between League Two and League One. But I think we're getting where we need to be.
James,
I mean, we certainly.
I was gonna say,
I was going to say, James, obviously when you were at Newport, you dealt with the rugby team as well. Did you do much with that together?
I'm going to say no, even though I got on with one of their commercial managers, Di Jenkins. I got on with him really well. It was very much us versus them in terms of sponsorship. I think there was only one possible company that sponsored both clubs, so it was very cutthroat between getting more across. And I think that because Newport County were always very sort of seen the poor relations in terms of their revenue was very low and the Dragons was very high. As we closed the gap more and more, I felt that animosity got a little bit worse. I can't comment on what it's like now. Honestly, it looks to me like it's swerved back more towards the Dragons have got the bigger commercial deals now. But during my time there, if I said that we worked together, that no chance did that happen. Most weeks I was looking for my advertising boards because they were hidden, because obviously they wanted to steal them sponsors off me. So it's, as I said, Newport is a very, very unique club. I know Michael speaks about how he learned things on the management side of football, but I believe that probably the stuff of sharing with a rugby team, that taught me a great deal, which I've taken forward in my career in football.
Do you think, though, that obviously that experience of there would help you with when you come here and like the cricket clubs just next door and doing stuff together with those?
Yeah, we've had slight little conversations already with the ice hockey, and I think that there could be something where you sort of promote games together. I think that in terms of sharing sponsorship revenue, unfortunately, the money goes into players. League Two players are not cheap. I know Michael has already commented on that, and the marketplace has gotten a little bit crazy. So for a club like ourselves, every penny counts. And as much as we can try and help market other businesses and other sports in Swindon and even surrounding areas, I think the key thing for me is to make sure that I can squeeze every penny possible for Swindon Town to put into the playing budget, because we are the biggest professional sports team in Wiltshire. We do loads of work for the community, and we're working on doing more and more for that. And as I said, we have to look after our own backyard, so to speak, and that's what we're trying to do. As I said, I don't mind in terms of helping promote games for our other neighbours in other sports, but in terms of sharing sponsorship revenue, I just don't think that Swindon Town is in that position right now to do that.
I think
James, Joe, can I just butt in? Hey,
Yeah,
James,
of course, yeah.
Go on.
On sponsorship, yeah, you've done very well. I don't think there's any space left in the ground or on the shirts, is there?
No, it's all gone. I'm still looking for more things that I could sell.
The one that sort of rankles a bit is QuinnBet. What was the rationale or reasoning behind QuinnBet?
Okay, so I totally understand the point on this. I think at the moment where football still is in League Two, that the deal is quite beneficial to Swindon financially. We still play in a league which is sponsored by a betting company. There are still many forms of betting that take place in League Two grounds and below. Even a 50-50 draw is a form of gambling. And I think at this moment in time, we weighed up the pros and cons of it. And at this moment in time, there was not enough against us turning down what was a good sponsorship offer. I do understand people's thoughts on it, and it is across the game. But at the moment, when we look how many clubs are still using betting companies, we play in a league that is sponsored by a betting company. We're not ramming it down people's face. There is that banner and there is that advertising board. That is it. We're not going to be sending out constant emails saying to people, "Oh, why don't you gamble? Why don't you?" We're not pushing that. It's basically an advertising deal that was a deal too good to turn down for the club. And we looked at all of the other avenues. We looked at all the other clubs that QuinnBet were advertising with. Many of them family clubs based like ourselves. But again, like the betting industry is, I think if that pulls out of football more, it's pulling out at the top flight. Let's be honest, Premier League teams are more and more going against it, even though there are still quite a few in there. But Premier League teams have a lot more money to be able to turn that down. At this moment in time, League Two, League One clubs are not really in that position. And as I said, we're not trying to drive betting and gambling down people's throats. But what we're trying to do is just basically maximize our commercial revenue by an advertising source, which is at a number of clubs. And that's where we are at this current moment in time. But I do take your point on board,
Okay.
definitely.
Thank you for that. Yeah, well done on all the other sponsorships, by the way.
Thank you very much.
The day went by when there was another sponsorship, so well done on that. Thank you.
Thank you.
James, just to round off this little segment of the show, I realise we've got Jake Young in the wings.
Okay. You're obviously going to want to speak to him more than me because he scores goals and I just sell advertising boards. So.
Not at all, mate. Not at all. It's all Swindon Town. It's all Swindon Town family.
Yeah.
Just one final thing I wanted to touch on was the STFC lottery.
Yeah.
So obviously it's not something that's completely new for football clubs. I think a lot of clubs around the country have got an internal lottery. I saw Sir Tom Broadbent's club, South Shields, was advertising theirs this week.
Yeah.
So how does this benefit the football club and also the fans? Obviously, it's a chance for supporters to win some money. It's a lottery by all intents and purposes, you've got as much chance as anyone else. But it is also sort of a route for the football club to earn some pennies, isn't it?
Yeah, the way that this one's been structured, I've been involved in lotteries at the previous clubs I've worked for. What we try to do is keep this one as cheap as possible, which it works out. It's £1.25 a week, which is less than a can of Coke. We've kept it probably that it's only 3 numbers that you draw, but we allow everyone more opportunities to win. But obviously, we're trying to generate a way that obviously the prize money can grow, so there will be a big winner. I think the easiest way to put this across is that if we were to have half of our fan base play the STFC Lotto, that would sign us 4 top quality League Two players. And I'm not going to go too much into the financials of it because I don't think that's really fair. But from my history in the game and being around this, if we could get half of our fan base to play this lotto at £1.25 a week, the difference that it would make to our budget in League Two is massive. And
the question as well, James, could it sign us a 22-year-old number 7 from Huddersfield?
Well, Bradford, you mean, do you?
Well, he's from Huddersfield. Bradford, yeah. Cut the middleman out. Let's just pay
let's be totally honest. As I said, if the fans get behind this, and when I came up with the proposal and I spoke to Rob Angus at the time, and I spoke to Clem about it and said, look, this has worked at other clubs. I really think that this is potentially a massive driver for the club if everyone gets behind it and realises. As I said, we're talking that it can be used for transfer money, it can be used for signing on fees, it can be used for wages, it can be used however the manager sees fit. But what this does, as I said, and this is just, if that's based on half, the options, if 75% played, it would be even more. But what this would do, and we're not talking squad players here, we're talking we could go out and we could say, right, we want this guy. The lotto's going to pay for it. It basically we can go to the EFL, we can show all of the documents, we can show all of the revenue, because the EFL are all over making sure you've got money to do this now because of problems that have happened at other clubs. And I think that, as you say, there's not really much advertising board space left of it. There's any shirts we've done. We've maximised digital stuff. We're looking at events and everything like that. But the lotto is the game changer, especially for a club the size of Swindon Town, where you get 8,000-9,000 every week. We could get promotion pushes. We could get 13,000-14,000. The club's that big. And I do think that it's key for me that we get the message out that the lotto is designed, obviously, for a bit of fun. Fun is the first thing. It's not expensive, but if people get behind it, the difference that it can make in terms of playing budget and support for the manager is massive. And I think that's what we're trying to drive with it.
That's absolutely perfect, mate. I think there's no better way to end a commercial segment than to tell everyone that, go out there, basically buy your 50,000 lottery tickets each, and then by the end of the week we've got Mbappe. Is kind of where we're going, isn't it?
Yeah,
that's it.
Yeah, well, we'll try.
That's perfect, James. I appreciate it's not been as long as an interview as we were going for, but I appreciate your time. That was absolutely perfect, mate. And I really hope that you can come back and join us another time.
No, definitely. Hopefully, when the lotto's got 4,000 players, I can tell you how much we're going to spend in January. So
yes, 100%. I will take you up on that offer.
Brilliant. Thank you very much. All right, see you soon. Okay, take care.
Cheers, James. Thank you very much, mate.
Cheers, James.
Well, I'm not too sure our second guest of the evening needs too much of an introduction. A man that's currently top goal contributor in the country. He's got more league goal contributions this season than Erling Haaland, Kylian Mbappe, Lionel Messi and Karim Benzema combined. And the best thing about it all, he's doing it all for Swindon Town Club de Football. Ladies and gentlemen, it's another striker on loan from Bradford. We've been here before, haven't we? I mean, don't fall in love with loan players. That's what they say. Well, we're probably in trouble, aren't we? It is my distinct pleasure to present to you Swindon Town number 7, Jake Young. Jake, how are you,
Hello,
mate?
can you all say that all again, please? I like the sound of that. Better than Mbappe, better than Haaland.
I'll send you a text. I'll send it to you.
You okay?
Oh, mate, it's an absolute pleasure to have you on the show. Thank you very much for coming on. I really appreciate your time.
No, thank you for having me.
Perfect. I mean, I'll kick the questions off. We've got a load that was sent in. We sent out a competition. Dan Designs is listening. the best question will win a Jake Young poster from Dan Designs.
Yeah.
So, Jake, I'll kick the questions off. How long would you like the contract length to be? How much do you want your weekly salary to be? And whereabouts do you want the statue?
Get me one alongside Dan Kemp, and that's a deal.
Oh, perfect. I mean, it's been a start to the season for yourself, isn't it? I mean, 7 goals, 4 assists. It's a bit crazy. No, I mean, was that expected?
Yeah,
I'm lost for words really at the start today.
Yeah, I think I am a little bit as well too. Obviously, I've come in to improve the squad, and I wanted to affect the team and improve the team. And I think I wanted to hit the ground running. I've come in as good a shape as I possibly could, and raring to go. I think it's obviously exceeded my imagination in how well it's gone. But I just got to keep going. We're only four games in, so I think as long as I can keep this run going, obviously maybe not 4 goals every game, but keep scoring, keep helping the team. That's what I'm here to do. So yeah, obviously probably didn't expect to do this well, but I've always backed myself as a player. So coming here, I've seen it as a good environment to be in, somewhere that I could really kick on. And I've started in on the right foot. So yeah, hopefully continue with that.
Jake,
I mean,
Jake, you scored 2 minutes into your Swindon career. Is that the quickest impact you've ever made at any club you've ever played for?
Yeah, I think it's got to be really. I mean, I've scored out of my 4 debuts. I think I've scored on 3 of them. So, like to be a fast starter, but yeah, 2 minutes was a record even for me. So yeah, that was good. That eased me into the game as such. So, and then from there, it's just been better and better, really.
I mean, at 7 goals, you're on track to score 92 this season. So, is there anything less than that now if you just play?
I think that, yeah, it's got to be. Get me out if I don't get 92 this season, really. No, obviously, it's good, but hopefully the fans don't expect 92. I'll do what I can, but hopefully not. So there's always going to be times.
We'll take 91. Yeah. It won't be horrible. But, I mean, you've been getting attention from pretty much like all ends of social media. I think Bradford City fans have suddenly got a whole new love for you. Have you seen the video? Do you know the video I'm talking about from Reverend David Coleman?
Yeah, I mean, I try to stay off social media a fair bit because obviously there's a lot gets said, but a few lads today did show me that video. It was an interesting one.
I mean, three words to describe it.
Creative.
Yeah.
Oh God, I don't know if I can say the other 2.
We'll take creative. I mean, we're all about sort of creativity and stuff on the Tom Broadbent Lounge, and we didn't want you to feel any sort of lack of love from the Swindon Town fans. So Bradford City fans have been giving you their love this week. Now, Ellis has been doing his best at writing some poetry, haven't you, Ellis?
Christ, I've got to say I'm regretting this now.
You've dug yourself a little hole. You fill that hole, sir. Go
on. Right, Jake.
Just don't think about everyone that's listening. There's not that many on here. Just
I know. Yeah,
Chris, get the clips on. Get the clips.
I've got to block it out. But as a football fan, you're sort of always told not to fall in love with a lone player. But I can safely say that after you playing 4 games in a Town shirt, I've well and truly failed that. So when Joe put the message out that you were going to be on the show, my initial thought, which I'm sure most people's first thought as well would be, is that I need to write you a poem. I've got to stress, I'm not a weirdo. I do have a job, and I don't just write poems for Swindon Town players in my spare time. But for you, I've made an exception, Jake. So here it goes. Right, Christ. In Swindon colours, Jake does shine. A love like his, rare and divine. On loan he is, but in my heart he's owned. With every kick, my affection has grown. Like a lone star, he lights up the night. In my thoughts, he's always in sight. Oh, Jake Young, you're my football delight. A lone's love, making everything right.
Yes, brilliant.
Jake, if you want to put in a restraining order, I understand.
Can we get that? Can we get that going at the county ground next weekend?
I'll get on the mic.
I will definitely be clipping that one up and pushing it everywhere.
Yeah, please do. Please do.
I'm so uncomfortable right now. I'm literally going 50p, 20p. You can't even tell.
Brilliant.
Like, that's coming from
Sorry,
a bloke
Jake.
that's a builder and a boxer, mate. You're on site tomorrow. You're not hearing the end of that.
Yeah, I know. Sorry, Jake.
Brilliant. Love it. I love it.
And we've got Liam from the lower league look one to come in to give us a pun as well. Let's get Liam in too. Might as well. Liam, what are your thoughts on that?
Bradford have just called and said they just cancelled the loan immediately. They're sending me to pick Jake up. I'm just gonna come get him, and he's done. We're just gonna forget it ever happened.
That's fair enough.
Do you know what? I feel like the rest of the interview is really easy now because that's the low point. So, I mean, Jake, what's in the water at the Swindon at the minute? So, yourself, Annie Colston for the women's team, and Abu Kanu for the 18s, all getting hat-tricks this week. I mean, I've not heard of that before.
I'm not. Raining goals. Hopefully that continues for all three of us. But yeah, obviously Abu he got a chance for the first team against Arsenal, and he's gone back and obviously got his hat-trick, which is really good for him, and a good experience for him to play with us the other night. But yeah, I think hopefully we all get another this weekend. That'd be all right, wouldn't it?
If you get another hat-trick this weekend, I dread to think what sort of shit Ellis come out with next week. It'd be awful.
Christ, I will be singing a song.
Another one, version 2, encore.
So, I mean, earlier on as well, Jake, you mentioned sort of the relationship you have with Dan Kemp. I think it's probably quite well documented that his dry food and chicken is the reason behind your success. So the chemistry was almost instant between yourselves. How much of an impact does being close off the pitch help with that on the pitch?
Yeah, I think it is massive. Without always realising, maybe subconsciously, just obviously getting to know him off the pitch and know about him and how he plays and just the conversations we'll have on an evening. I think it's big. Even last night we were just talking and discussing obviously how we're doing it at the minute. And I think he said like for the goals at the weekend, he said he couldn't even remember looking up and seeing me. He just knew I was there. So I think as soon as you get something going like that, you've got a bit of a winning formula really. So I think hopefully we can keep that partnership going because I feel like I know exactly what he wants when he gets the ball and stuff, and he's a special player. I mean, I'm really enjoying playing with him, and I just going to games. I can't see him not setting me up or not getting chances at the minute. And the way it's going, I feel like I'm going to score every time I get it, and I think he feels similar. So. Like I said, it's a bit of a winning formula at the minute, so it's good. But in terms of off the pitch, everyone's a good lad, and it definitely helps when you get that stuff. Just even going and played a bit of golf yesterday with a few lads, and all that stuff is just as important as the training pitch, really, because you're going out there, you got to fight for each other, you got to battle for each other, and play with each other for the season. And if I want to be successful, I'm going to need 10 other lads on the pitch and the lads on the bench. We all need each other to get where we want to go as a team and individually. So, yeah, it's really important. And despite the dry chicken and pasta, I am enjoying living with him.
Oh, mate. I think a lot of Swindon fans have sort of noticed or have cottoned on quite early this season. The spirit in the camp is probably a little bit night and day compared to what we experienced last year. I think the chemistry that you boys look like you have, as you say, off the pitch is pretty insane already from like 4 games in. You can see that the camaraderie and the morale was really quite high. I think in terms of the Dan Kemp scenario with yourself, I think a lot of town fans have sort of put the Harry McCurdy and Jack Payne relationship that we saw a couple of years ago at the club. They've compared you a little bit. Now they got to the playoffs. Surely we go one best with yourselves because there's motion, surely. I mean, Jack Payne and Harry McCurdy or Jake Young and Dan Kemp. I know what I'm thinking.
Yeah, I mean, I'm hearing a lot of names here and then. We're in obviously the Doyle and Yates shouts, but obviously we want to be our own partnership, our own too. So, like you said, there was sort of McCurdy and Payne obviously did well, got the playoffs, but we all know what the ultimate aim is this season, and it's going to be tough. It's a long season, but we've definitely got a recipe for success here, and it's just about us as a team and and staff to unlock that potential that we've got as a squad, because it is a really good squad quality wise. Coming in that first week, I could tell it's a really good group. So it's not just obviously me and Kempy, but hopefully a good partnership and the squad we've got a good chance this year. But it won't just be served up on a plate for us. We're gonna have to earn it and. See where we are come the end of April, but just one game at a time. And if we can go 6-0 every single one of those, that'll be all right.
Yeah, that'll do. I mean, on Dan Kemp, I got a text from a fairly well-known journalist over the weekend with a text saying Jack Payne is basically being sold by Charlton, and I replied that saying Dan Kemp asked who Jack Payne is. So it's one of those, isn't it? I think another sort of relationship that we've noticed yourself and Dan is the sort of link up that you guys have with Charlie Austin. So obviously having a veteran striker in Charlie up top, has that helped you in any way on or off the pitch, like in the success that you've experienced in the opening weeks? How's it playing with a player like Charlie?
Yeah, it's massive. I think there's no better striker in the league really to be learning off. It was definitely something that I was excited about when I signed, just kind of seeing what he was like and watching him. And it's definitely kind of fulfilled expectations. He's a really good guy, and learned a lot off him so far. He's a really good captain, good leader, and I think all the lads have got massive respect for him. And yeah, definitely really enjoying playing with him. I think we complement each other quite well so far, and similar to the Kempy one, I think we kind of know what we want, and he tells me what he wants as well, which is good. We'll talk during the game and figure things out together. But yeah, it's massive having someone with so much experience and such a good player to learn off as a young striker. I think he does things that I probably don't do so well. He does them really well. So, like I say, complement each other. But not only that, I can learn off him, and I'm really enjoying playing with him at the minute.
Oh, Jake,
I think one of the best.
I was going to say, Jake. Obviously, you're playing alongside Charlie, and you're learning stuff off him this year. But last season, obviously, while you were at Bradford, you were playing alongside Andy Cook. Does playing with two more experienced players like that, do you learn different stuff off different players?
Yeah, 100%. Every player, not just those two, every player's kind of got different things you can learn off them. But like you said, obviously with Cookie last year, he had a really successful year. So as someone that probably personally I didn't hit what I wanted to last year, I'm there watching him top scorer. I've got to learn. I've got to look at what he did so well last year, and try to take that into my game this year. I think everyone knows how good he was last season. But like I say, yeah, Chaz is obviously next level. He's played where obviously I dream of playing at the top level. So I think as much as I can take off him and just soak in from him, the better I'll do, hopefully.
I think one of the interesting things that come out of the County Ground Uncut videos that came out of the weekend, basically every single one of your goals at the weekend, you had a full-on conversation with Charlie afterwards.
Yeah.
What are those conversations about? Are you just chatting about where you fit? Is Charlie like, this is what you should be doing? You're like, come on, Charles, score 4 goals here, mate. Like, I
mean, to be fair, I think with those ones, especially, it's always a bit of a blur, by the way, when I score. But from what I remember after the hat trick goal, obviously it was my first hat trick. He come up and he was like, "Is that your first one?" And I said, "Yeah," and he just kind of shook my hand and just said, "Just enjoy this, enjoy the next thing." We still had a half hour left or whatever, so he just said, "Just enjoy this next half hour. They don't come along often, so kind of take it in." Which that was a nice moment just to get that from him. And yeah, he's genuinely buzzing whenever me or anyone else scores. It's not a case of, obviously strikers always want to score, but he's just as happy when someone else scores, which is nice. And I think, what did you say? I think the second one, my second goal with the outside of my boot, I think my first touch was a little bit loose. I meant to put it on my left foot and it was in the middle, really, and he was just getting onto saying, "Oh, it was a baggy first touch, wasn't it?" So it's not always genius tactical conversation. Sometimes it's just a bit of a laugh and stuff and enjoy the moment. But like I said, as soon as we're walking back to kick off again, it's back to it, and he's getting us to switch back on. So yeah, it's a really important part.
I'll tell you what, at 4-1 though, like, if you scored a hat trick of 4-1 after the week before, mate, if you're saying you to enjoy that moment, I mean, going back to the obviously being 4-1 up at Wrexham, first half was sensational. Second half, I think, in terms of the way that Swindon Town fans have looked back on it, it's probably just a referee disaster class. In terms of obviously what was given, especially last 2 goals, decisive decisions. I mean, what was your sort of take on the decisions? Well, I won't put you under the pressure of what the thoughts of the referee are. What I'll ask you, have you ever played in a game that crazy? And have you ever played in a game that's ended up in 5-5? Because I don't think I can remember a game finishing 5-5.
No, from best of my knowledge at the pro level, I've definitely not. It was never had a game quite like that. I think, as you said, there was probably a couple decisions that could be argued, I think is probably the best way to put it without getting fined. But ultimately, we left it up to the referee to make those decisions. I think at 4-1 and even 5-3, we should have been far away out of sight that a referee decision doesn't affect the game. So it is on us. But hopefully the fans can see during the week that followed, we did have a real good look at what went wrong and what happened, and that come to fruition on Saturday. We got the clean sheet, which was absolutely massive, because obviously 6 goals is great, but we've shown previously that we can score. We got the 5 goals against Wrexham, but showing that we can be resolute and keep the clean sheet was important as well. It shows to ourselves that we can do it, and we're not just that exciting attacking team. We are good defensively as well. So mental game. It was never going to play in one like that, or at least I hope I don't. And
I hope I don't either.
So yeah, I think there was a lot of positives to take from it. I mean, that first half was we blew them away really, and so if we can marry that first half up with the Crawley second half, then yeah, that'll be all right, won't it?
I mean, to be fair, in terms of an opening 3 games, I think no fan will be grumbling about sort of quality for money or value for money in terms of ticket fees, because bloody hell, you've always been putting on shows.
Yeah, I mean, we can't promise goals every game, but the style we play is definitely exciting, and it is usually going to create chances and create exciting games, which obviously that's not necessarily good for the fans' hearts always, but like you said, you get your money's worth, hopefully. But I think, at the minute, not struggling for goals, and Saturday was good defensively, so just take that into the Doncaster game, and hopefully come back with 3 more points.
I liked the phrase there, you can't promise goals. Now, I mean, you're compared to Owen Doyle quite a lot, purely because of the Bradford loan. Owen Doyle was a person that basically did promise goals. He's got a club record of scoring in consecutive games. Have you ever spoken to Owen Doyle? Have you reached out to him? Have you had a chat to him about, how Bradford to Swindon suddenly gives you godlike scoring ability?
I'm going to wait till I've matched his record, and then I might drop him a message. But no, I mean, coming in, obviously there was immediately before I'd even played a minute, a lot of kind of comparisons. Is it the Doyle situation again? Obviously, you do see them, and like what I said at the time, obviously, if I get anywhere near what he did, I'll be really happy with what the season looked like. So I've started. I don't know how fast he started, but I mean, I'd like to think I've maybe matched his start. So, like I said,
you smashed his start. I think he scored on his debut. But
okay.
I mean,
Good.
He smashed anyone's start. I think he smashed Ronaldo's start, bloody Al Nassr.
So like I said, it's never going to be 4 goals every game, and I'm sure there's going to be some kind of dry spell, as that happens across every player's career. But I feel like I've got that confidence now, and I'll try and make this run last as long as possible. And if it's not me scoring, hopefully it's Chaz, hopefully it's Kempe, hopefully it's someone else. For me, I'm not. It's great scoring the goals. It's great kind of getting that personal recognition. But if the team's winning, I'm not too fussed whether it's me hitting the back of the net or someone else. So I'd love to match his tally. That is kind of one in the back of my head. But if we're a successful team and we do what we set out to do, then I'm not too fussed how many I score.
No, I'm the one thing looking back at the Doyle situation, I'm looking forward to Bradford at home. Be a good laugh. I think I'm not looking forward to January. I'm not going to lie. You might be maybe the cause of about 98% of Swindon Town fans' anxiety throughout that month. But we won't talk about that. That's fine. We've got a question here from Darren Jackson. He's dropped a question. If a deal could be agreed, would you sign on a permanent deal now? And is there a recall option in the loan deal? I think obviously the second part of that, it's a loan, so there is the potential.
Yes.
But I mean, we'll condense it. I don't want to put you on the spot. We'll condense it. Obviously, you're scoring a lot of goals, but how are you finding the experience in Swindon? I mean, are you enjoying your football? Was that stupid to ask?
Yeah, probably. Yeah, I mean, look, I'm really happy here already. I got a really good feeling when I signed, and I'm not been in many better places so far in my career than what I am right now. So I'm not going to get ahead of myself. I don't want to even think about January or the end of the season. But all I think is, for me, in my head, what's been signed, I'm here for the season unless something changes. I'm a Swindon player, and I'm making this my home as much as possible, and just appreciating obviously the fans making me feel like I am at home. And it's been a really good start. But like I said, for me, I just want to. I'm not going to sit here thinking that's it. I've got 7 goals. I've got the assists that I've got. I've got it cracked. That's not the case. I want to kick on. I want to score more goals. I want to help the team, and like we said, see what happens. Whether it's I can't predict the future, and with this stuff, it's not always in my hands. Whether it be coming here on a permit, whether it be going back, I couldn't tell you. As much as a lot of fans wish I could tell you, it's often not up to me until kind of the very last decision. But what they do need to know is I'm loving it here. I'm loving the match days, loving seeing all the fans, and I want to be here as long as possible when it's my decision. So yeah, that's probably all I can say on it, really.
Mate, that's a perfect answer. I mean, Liam, you got your hands up, mate. We'll bring you in, but just before Liam talks, Jake, you're completely right. This is your home, and whatever he's about to say, it's all bollocks.
I'm glad you said that because I was about to be really complimentary of Swindon.
No way.
Here's the thing. I know what's going to happen because I've seen this play out before. There's going to be a big Swindon meltdown in January because we are going to recall Jake.
Oh, Liam, get off
purely, I tell you now, that's purely so that you buy him. That's what I think will happen. It's what happened with Doyle. We called him back knowing that Swindon were going to put the hand in the pocket. I mean, you've just had your commercial guy on talking about how much money he's trying to raise to spend in January. So if someone from Bradford's listening to this now, they have got pound signs in their eyes.
Oh, you're a bastard.
But you know what? Look, Jake will tell you, like, I spoke to him after his debut. I said, I'm absolutely delighted for him. He needed this opportunity and he wasn't getting it with us, and it's not fair to hold players back and have them sat there sort of waiting for that opportunity when it's just not being given. So, you know, he's gone out and he's taken it somewhere else, and yeah, it annoys me it had to be Swindon, but the fact is it is, and he's doing well. So yeah, look, every goal he scores adds value, so it's fine. It's fine to me.
Well, Jake, I mean, that's from a Bradford point of view. Obviously, some of their fans, and I'm sure if you're not playing at Swindon, they're all very happy to see you doing so well. So long may it continue. I think I've got another question here from Mike Dixon. We'll move on from sort of contract talks and all that. Do you hope to follow in the footsteps of Jimmy Quinn, Alan Connell and Owen Doyle and score loads more goals for Swindon than for Bradford?
I want to score goals wherever I am, and at the minute that's here. So yeah, as many as possible is the aim. 4 every week minimum.
Perfect. So I've got a couple of food questions here for you. I've got Vindaloo, Madras or Korma. Pick one.
I'd love to pretend that I'm hard and I can hack it, but it's good. It's a Korma. It's a Korma.
Oh no. Oh. I mean,
might sell
that's
you.
Shocking. Obviously, those are 3 curries there that I've named. I should have put in there chicken because, I mean, you've got previous experience at a football club that won't allow chicken on the premises. What is it like being a footballer and having to have a vegan diet?
Unless
you're a vegan, you might be a vegan.
No, I'm not. And at Forest Green, it was anything that we were provided with by the club had to be vegan. But away from football. We didn't have to be, so I made sure I doubled up on chicken and steak when I did get home. But no, to be fair, it wasn't too bad. It was obviously we'd kind of have lunch there maybe, and then food after games. It was obviously different. I had to get used to it, and look, if you don't enjoy it and you don't want to do that, you can always bring your own stuff in and sort yourself out. But it tended to be kind of not too bad. You can pick and choose what you had. I wasn't a big fan of the corn really, so I'd maybe stick to the vegetable stuff and the potatoes and bits like that. So you adapt, you get used to it, and you eat a load more meat when you get home.
Yeah, I mean, we had Gav Gunning on the show last year. He spent a season at Forest Green, and he said that every single day after training, he's thing past Mackey's. He was like, straight away, double cheeseburger. It's got to be done.
I'm an athlete. I can't be doing that. I'm a good pro.
He was meant to be an athlete as well.
Good
pro. So, I mean, I don't want to keep you on too long, mate. Obviously, I appreciate it. It's getting late in the evening. I've got a final question here from Daz, and Daz is on the show. Daz has asked, how many people have asked for your shirt at the end of the season? Can I be number whatever?
I'll see what I can do. There's a long line. Often, obviously, I think get it hundreds of times on game day. So there is. I'm sure there's a long line. But no, do everything I can. Even if it's not just shirts. When I'm done with boots, I'll usually sign them and give them away, and training tops and bits like that. Obviously, sometimes Hoops and Jonah they're onto us because if we've got a Tuesday game and we're giving shirts away on Saturday, that sometimes puts them in a bit of trouble. So when we can, we do everything we can. Because I was a young lad wanting my favourite players' shirts and boots and stuff like that. So any opportunity, I'm all over giving it away and stuff, and hopefully making someone's day. So yeah, keep putting your hand up, keep asking. Don't be annoyed when I say I can't, but I'll do what I can.
No, I appreciate it. Obviously, it's a cost that probably builds up quite quickly. I think Charlie Austin was saying that when he joined last season, he must have gave his shirt away probably first 6 weeks, and then he was like, I literally can't do it anymore.
Like, comes out your pay slip at the end of the month and you can't eat.
Yeah, that's it, yeah. Now, Jake, obviously, I don't want to keep you for much longer, but obviously, so Saturday, trip up to Yorkshire, back up home. Donny away. How are we feeling? How's the camp looking?
Yeah, obviously happy camp at a minute. Good spirits. We've obviously got no Tuesday game, so a full week to prepare. Been looking at them, and obviously I'm sure they're not too happy with how they've started, so they'll be keen to get 3 points, I'm sure. Expecting a fast start, them out the blocks, so just need to match that and then implement a game plan. But yeah, really looking forward to it. Obviously, coming into it from the weekend, I think everyone's just really excited to get back out there and hopefully give the fans something to cheer about and come home with.
Absolutely. Well, mate, I won't keep you for any longer. Thank you very, very much for coming on this evening. It's been an absolute pleasure.
Thank you for having me.
I was going to say, Joe, I think Liam might have one last question.
I think Liam's done enough damage.
Go on, it's okay.
No, Matt, hey, listen, I've got 2 points. Donny are beating Everton, by the way, right now. They've gone 1-0 up. But that don't matter because in the league they're shite. But my other point is, like everyone's queuing up for your Swindon shirts. Jake, can I have your Bradford gear if you sign first?
Yeah, I think there's some on eBay actually. If you want to go bigger.
Oh, I'm not buying them on eBay.
It costs you a bag of quavers. That.
No. I don't even get staff discount.
Should be able to dig one out. If not, I'm sure Don can help you. But yes. I'll when I come back up to my place, I'll see what I've got in a drawer for you.
Yes, I love it. Right, well, I'll leave you all to it. Good
and trying to blag some beer. Come on now.
Hey, listen, right, I sent Jake a free t-shirt.
Yeah, so only right in it. I've got to return a favour.
Exactly. Right, well, cheers, guys.
Right, Jake, before you go, I need to apologise again.
I want to hear it again. I want to hear it
cringing.
one more time on the way out.
No.
The man's off. He's off nicely as well.
We're going to record the poem and sell them.
Yeah, get it out there, get it tweeted so I can.
Well, get it on a t-shirt now.
I'll get on a t-shirt.
Brilliant.
We won't put him through it again.
Thanks, Jake.
Jake, thank you very much for coming on, mate. I hope that we're able to talk to you again at some point this season when we're riding high at the top of the table and it's May and you're selling bread and it'll all be lovely.
Sounds good. Nice.
Perfect. Absolute hero.
Thank you for having me. Cheers, guys.
Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, Swindon Town's
Cheers,
number
Jake.
7, Jake Young.
Cheers.
What an absolute boy. Ellis, I know you were in love before me. I think I'm now fully in love again. I mean, what a man.
Yeah, I hope I haven't scared him off, but I think I've already done the damage. But yeah, I mean, the man can score goals, and plenty of them. He's exactly what we need, and yeah, like I said earlier, I think I'm in love already.
He's definitely checking behind the curtains before he goes to sleep though tonight.
Yeah.
That was, I mean, I'd use the word special. It was different. But Liam, one of your own started that, so I mean,
we started it, but you took it to a level.
Well,
ours was just talking about how we can come score some goals for Bradford, and it was by a reverend, so you can't even get annoyed by it because he's a man of the cloth. Yours was a guy declaring his undying love for him.
Well, you can't blame me.
No, I can't blame him at all, but I hope it scared him off. I really do.
I mean, I've got next to my notes. I've got Crawley review, and I mean, it would only be fair to go on to the Crawley game. We spoke about it briefly with Jake, but I mean, 4 goals in one game for Mr. Jake Young. It's a little bit silly, isn't it?
It shouldn't happen. I think it's refreshing to see, especially after the struggles that we had last season in terms of the goal scoring department. I mean, Jake's pretty much on his way to beating Johnny Williams, who was our top goal scorer last season. So, I mean, that says it all. That he's on his way in 4 games. So it's nice to have a striker that can definitely, put the ball in the net, and he can score goals from everywhere. He scored tap-ins, he scored edge of the box, he scored headers. And yeah, it's just all round. He's a perfect striker.
I was chatting there. I was on mute. I can't make it. I don't disagree with anything you said there. I mean, I think we spoke about it briefly as well. Was obviously a relationship with Dan Kemp and Charlie Austin, but as a sort of a free in the middle of that centre, sort of the top of the Christmas tree, if you like, for Swindon Town, they're pretty sensational. I think the best thing about it too is they sort of complement each other in their own different way, and I think was it the 3rd goal for Young on Saturday, his hat-trick goal, when Dan Kemp's chops it back to find Young in space just to tap into an empty net. That's the sort of chemistry that, effectively money can't buy. It's something that some players will have, and a lot of them don't have that ability to know where their teammates are. I just feel I wasn't at the game really, unfortunately, but watching that game back, I just felt privileged to be watching it. I thought, in terms of attacking football, I can't think of a game where I've seen Swindon Town be that clinical. Maybe ever.
It's definitely it's one of those games that you'll look back on in sort of years to come and think, Christ, how do we win 6-0? It's like I've seen people moaning that in terms of defensively we looked a bit weak, and we could have gone 1-0 down, but at the end of the day we didn't, and it was nice to see. It was nice to see the team take their chances, and I use it as an example all the time, but last season some of the football that we watched was so flat and so boring and goalless at times, and if you would have told me that this season we're scoring 6 goals in one game, I wouldn't have believed you. It's nice to see, and it's definitely nice to see this partnership going on. We always seem to have these partnerships going on, and so, like we've mentioned it, Doyle, Yates, McCurdy and Payne, and obviously now Young and Kemp. It's sad that they're on loan because we all know what can happen, but I think we've got to just, if they're both banging in sort of 4 goals a game, get our use out of them now and worry about it in January.
I mean, it's one of those as well, mate. Like, I think a lot of people have made the sort of link to obviously Jack Payne signing on loan from MK Dons today. Does that then neglect or negate the need for a Dan Kemp in their squad? Probably. Yeah. Also, I mean, out of the two, it's one of those, isn't it? I think Dan Kemp's got 6 months of his deal left at the point of January. So, in terms of value, you'd think it's probably not going to be astronomical. Jake Young may be a different story, but again, if he's banging in the goals, you get to January, if he gets recalled, you've got to pay the bucks, haven't you?
Yeah, exactly. It's exactly what happened with Doyle. Bradford aren't going to be stupid. Liam touched on it earlier. They're just they're recalling just so we've got to pay for him. I doubt they're just going to let him stay in our team and keep banging the goals in and getting nothing out of it. Especially if in Kemp's situation, especially if we have him rest of the season and then we just get him on a free. That I'm sure they're going to want some sort of money and helping hand out of it.
I think one thing we can be assured of is that after this season, Bradford are never going to loan us a player again.
Yeah, I mean,
we may never need one ever again if we've got Young up top. We'll be in the Championship in 2 seasons, so it's not an issue.
I mean, just while we're on Crawley, obviously I wasn't at the game. I turned down a hospitality package alongside the one that we had to sort of give away. I was looking to be in hospitality for the game, and I was like, no, I'll go to a family do instead. That'd be nice.
Oh yeah.
Why have I done that, Ellis? Why have I thrown that away? I can't believe it.
Yeah, I would be livid. I mean, I was annoyed that I could only watch the game once in person. So if I missed the game, I wouldn't know what to do.
Yeah. I mean, Carly, were you at the game on Saturday? I believe you were.
I was indeed.
I mean, wow. Any other words to describe that?
It feels like a bit of a blur now, to be honest. It feels like it was such a long time ago. You were saying earlier about last season, it was so unsure all the time where goals were going to come from. And even when we had McCurdy and Payne, there wasn't always that confidence that they were always going to score, that they were always going to get them goals. But Saturday, I think twice, I said to my sister, this is going in. And I can't remember the last time I said that. Years, honestly, years, probably since... Maybe, I don't know, but just the confidence in the play, the position that people were getting themselves into, you could see what they were trying to do. And a couple of people have made derogatory comments about Charlie Austin, but you can see what game he's playing as well. And it's such an unselfish thing for him to be doing. He knows that he can draw the defenders towards him, leaving the others open. And, obviously he's not going to get away with that for the whole season. And I'm sure when we go to Doncaster on Saturday, there will be the whole team on Jake Young. But it's just amazing to watch the position everybody's getting themselves into, and it's like you can see it. Dun, 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 it's coming. That's going to go in. It's a goal, and the confidence. It's so lovely. I know we're only a few games in, and it's Swindon Town, and we struggle to have a bit of belief at times, but it's exciting. It's. I haven't been this excited about football for a long time. Definitely.
Go on, mate.
For me, the scary thing is, I can't see us dropping points in a few. I mean, we've got a good run of games going. I mean, you've got Doncaster coming up. They're bottom of the league. You'd like to think you're picking up 3 points there. Then we got Sutton again. You're hoping for 3 points. Walsall again hoping for 3 points. Morecambe, Grimsby, and then it's Notts County. So Notts County, Bradford. A point out of those games would be a decent result. So look, the run of games that we've got coming up plays massively into our favour, and if we can keep this good run of form going, if we can keep getting these goals and just getting those 3 points. But come Christmas time, we'll be, well, certainly we'll be top three. And we're all worrying about Kemp and Young being recalled, but like I said earlier, if we can just get this good run of games going while we've got them, and get ourselves into a decent position by Christmas time, we'll be laughing.
Exactly that. I know it's a concern, and I know we've had to endure it before, and a lot of people are unsettled about it. But it is still August, only just, but it is still August. We've got enough time to get us in a good position before they have to possibly go, if they possibly go.
I can't get over the excitement that I'm experiencing as a Swindon Town fan right now. Like, I find it hard to not be giddy. And I think my ultimate sort of litmus test of giddiness amongst the fan base, Daz, you're a serial loss predictor or a draw predictor when I ask you at the end of the show. I mean, even you can't be excited at this at the minute.
Over the moon, absolutely. It's quite ironic actually. 6 weeks ago, I was looking at the thought of we're not going to do anything, and then it's Swindon, isn't it? They just do the exact opposite to what you think. So there we go. That's where we're at. Donny game. I'll wait. I'll wait and see everyone else's predictions when you come on to that.
Dad, we're not there just yet. I'll be there shortly because I realise that we're looking past 9 o'clock in a minute. But I swear to God, if you go and predict a loss away at the bottom of the league after a 6-0 thumping, you may be going on suspension for a few weeks. That's a straight red, that is.
That is, isn't it? Eh? Oh, that's a red rag to a bull, mate. We'll see. We'll see.
Malcolm, I haven't spoken to you for a while. Obviously, Crawley, you were there pitch side. How was it from your point of view? Because, I mean, you're like myself. You're quite a positive lad. Positivity overload?
Absolutely, yeah. Loving it, loving life. We're going to win the league, all that sort of stuff. But no, I'm not going to carry it away. It is too early to get carried away. But yeah, it was brilliant Saturday, and we just got to enjoy these games when they come, and then see what comes next. So yeah, always positive.
Absolutely. I think just before we move on to Doncaster, it would be remiss of us to not appreciate the rest of the squad other than Jake Young and Dan Kemp. I think a lot of people have been giving a lot of love to players such as Tom Brewitt has been getting a lot of love on socials. I think he looks a hell of a lot fitter, maybe with a full pre-season in him this season. I mean, Saidu Khan in midfield. I think a lot of people have been
superb, yeah.
Yeah, he's been superb. I think this is a player that Chesterfield fans were absolutely raving about when we signed him last summer. I think George McEachran's looked good. I think Tariq Uwakwe might be a really good signing for us as well. I know it's probably well documented in terms of what Mike Flynn's been saying about his fitness and maybe growing into the side. I think he's not had a full pre-season as well, so he's getting there. I think he looks really good. I think it'd be
got his first assist, didn't he? So that was good.
Yeah, cracking ball, back post. I just think that the entire squad looks so on it, and it's such a positive vibe around the place. I think in terms of how the players look off the pitch, their reaction with their connection with the fans. I think on the pitch as well, everyone's so positive. It's so driven. It's so focused on attacking football that it's just, as I say, you've not wasted a penny this season on a ticket. I didn't go to Wrexham. It was 5-5. It broke my heart. But if I paid for a ticket, I don't think I can complain.
Yeah, I mean, you can feel the vibe from when you're walking into the ground, like under harping back to like Wellings and things when it was like that. But from walking into the ground, down the tunnel where I am, sometimes you can see that. You can just see the players, joking with each other, getting that. It's just, you can just see it, and it's a pleasure to see. So long may it continue.
Absolutely, mate. Absolutely. So obviously, looking on to transfer deadline day this week, we spoke about what a good squad we have. I think a lot of supporters would be asking for maybe one more signing. Has anyone here got any transfer rumours for me? I'm feeling tasty. I'm feeling hungry. Sorry.
I don't know about rumours as well, but needs. I think we could probably do with a big, experienced centre half to organise the defence. Because actually, obviously we've been a little bit suspect at the back, and I just think an experienced guy can organise that a little bit better, just to add to that group, or maybe a defensive
possibly. I
midfielder.
think,
But I don't think we really need much else. But the worry is if we get an injury or a couple of injuries, I'm a bit worried about that depth. So that's why I think we need to bring a couple of players in just to give us that little bit of a scope on the bench.
absolutely. I think it was interesting to hear Jake Young talking about the clean sheet of the weekend. Obviously, we have got a fairly young defence. I think obviously you've got players like Fraser Blake Tracy. Tom Brewitt's played football for a very long time now. He was playing in League One for Morecambe just 4 or 5 years ago. So he's not inexperienced by any means, but you can tell how much that meant to the camp, keeping that clean sheet. Just in terms of the confidence boost, I think it would go massive for us. Especially, obviously, we've got Murphy Mahoney in goal, it's his first real first pro season as number one goalkeeper. So you'd imagine that meant a lot to him personally. But yeah, if I was going to pick one signing, it probably would be a centre back. If not for numbers, maybe just for game management. Ellis, would you agree, disagree there?
Yeah, I think you're all spot on. I think I think you've got your starting lineup possibly. You could make an argument for another centre back, but seeing what Flynn said in press conferences regarding if you get a tall no nonsense centre back in, it takes away from the footballing side. So yeah, you could have done with a brute of a centre back in the Wrexham game, I think, just to sort of help see out games. But in terms of our starting lineup, I'd say we're pretty much there, unless we can get in some top players in that can take away the spots of our starting lineup already. But yeah, I think for me, I'm pretty happy. I'm pretty happy as it is.
I think it's depth more than anything. We could, if an experienced centre half becomes available, great. A defensive midfielder, that would help, and also someone who offers us a bit different up top, i.e., like a big centre forward in the Tyrese Simpson mode. But those aren't readily available, and if they're not better than what we've got, we don't need to go out of the way to get them. But I think we do need to add a couple of players just to give us that little bit of depth, because we are going to get injuries, and that's when we might get exposed. So I think we need to cover for that.
I think as well, we've had a very positive start to the season, so you want to just, maybe a bit of insurance there, isn't it, I guess? We want to be making sure that if we get injuries, then the quality on show in starting 11 isn't going to be too badly affected. It's just, this feels now like a bit of an opportunity. I'm saying it now, it's early on, but I'm excited. Why am I excited already? Let's have a brief excitement about the weekend, shall we? So, Donny away, bottom of the table. We're off a 6-0 win. Ellis, 3 points.
100%. It's not even a doubt in my mind. I know I'm optimistic, but I think coming off of Wrexham and obviously Crawley, we're on a high. The team's gelling, game by game. And look, Doncaster, they're not the greatest team in the league. It's not. It's not going to be a 6-0 thumping. Not at all. But it's a game that you should be picking 3 points up. And certainly if we're challenging for promotion, this is sort of a 3 points must. But yeah.
Carly, would you agree, disagree there with Ellis?
Yeah, definitely. I think we'll win. I'm going to really stick my neck out on the line and say that we're going to win. I just think like I said, at the moment we don't look like we're going to stop scoring goals. Everybody seems to be developing more and more from each game, like you were saying earlier about Brewitt, etc. You can see that everybody's growing in strength. So yeah, I'm going to say 3 points.
3 points from Carly. I mean, Malk, I've got a feeling you might agree there.
Yeah, sorry. I think they're going to come out at us because they're not going to want to keep this run going, are they? So we've got to be wary. But I think that there definitely will be. I think that they're not going to go into it. What's the word? I don't know, gun ho, thinking that we're going to win, cocky like. But yeah, I think strong 2-0, 2-0. Happy with that.
Happy days. We'll leave Daz to the end. Chris, what about you, mate?
I'm actually gutted about this weekend because, as you know, Doncaster is about 10 miles away from where I live. But for various reasons, I cannot make this one. But I fancy. I don't think it's going to be an easy game because I think when you're playing those teams at the top, that are struggling, they battle that little bit more without the quality. So I still think we might get a win. But I'd say a 2-1 or something like that.
Mate, this side does not do one goal wins. We know that. It's going to be 7-6. Well, no, it won't. That's gone up against myself. 7-5 then. We'll go for a 2-goal difference there. Right, Daz, come on now. Let's hear it.
Okay, right. Well, the company I do business with, they have their HQ in Doncaster. I've been there once.
Okay.
Although the roundabout where the HQ is, I've been round 3 times. So I'll go Doncaster 1, Swindon 3.
Well, that might be the first win prediction of the season, is it not?
Wow.
Yeah, it is. It is. I'm dreading it because you know what'll happen now. Because I'm always wrong. So wasn't it 2-2 for last game and we won 6-0? So
this is scary. This is scary, Daz.
3-1, 3-1 win.
I didn't give a score prediction, but I know I said it's not going to be a 6-0 thumping. It's going to be a 4-0 thumping. We've got goals in us. I think we're going to get 2 from Young. We're going to get 1 from Austin and 1 from Kemp.
What we need is Darren Dunn's prediction because he nailed 6-0, didn't he, on Saturday?
He did, yeah. I mean, I didn't catch the name of the other town fan for his 60th birthday, put in a bet on 6-0, I think at 200 to 1. I mean, what's in the water? Who's putting bets on at 6-0? Come on now.
Yeah, but that same supporter did that 10 years ago at 5-0, and they won it then, and then we've won it now. That's amazing.
It is.
$4 grand for a 6-0.
Lucky boy. Lucky boy. It's not a bad birth present, is it?
Not at all.
Right, I mean, that probably brings us to a natural end for this evening. I think I need to lie down after the Jake Young segment. What a top boy.
I'm gonna hide under my covers now. After reading my poem.
Ellis is gonna sit and cry in the shower.
Yeah.
Ellis, you just wait till I clip them up and push them everywhere.
Yeah, I'm waiting for it, Chris. I'm waiting.
Ellis, you've been so confident all day about your poem.
I know. I was bigging myself up. I said I'm going to declare my love for the man, and then it comes at the moment, and I showed away.
You smashed it, mate. You smashed it.
And I think he loved it too, secretly.
Wow. He did love it. He loved it.
He's folded a restraining order, but yeah.
I didn't love it, Ellis, but my anxiety and comfortability in my chair isn't as important as Jake. So
yeah, it
is what it is. On that point, we will leave you lovely people for this week. Next week, we'll be back again. We will have Annie Colston and Helena Diaz-Butcher from STWFC live on the show with us next week. So we'll be checking in with the ladies. Before then, the last thing I have to do is just let you know, as always, that you've been listening to this Tom Broadbent Lounge. We're an independent X-Space, and we are not affiliated with either Swindon Town Football Club nor Tom Broadbent himself. Thank you once again for listening, everyone. Come on, you Reds. And Jake Young, please don't leave. Thank you very much. Cheers all.